going on, everybody? TheAireaidLord is here, and I'm live and in person right now, rather than some of the picture-in-picture videos that I do, where it's just images from the show. I like to have these face-to-face vlogs. I wanted to do this one because there are some updates I had right after I drink some water. There were some updates I had just with stuff with the channel, and then also I wanted to make a vlog for you guys right here about a topic I've been thinking about. Just a couple quick things. First of all, yes, I'm pointing in the right direction. You can see all of the images that are along here on the sidebar. This is kind of the frame for the channel that I have. I have my logo up top, and then we've got the picture-in-picture that I usually do the reaction videos for. You got The Walking Dead. You got a picture from the season that I'll be doing the reactions for. And then at the bottom, we've got the lovable Negan in comic book form telling all of you motherfuckers to subscribe to the channel. Now, I'm going to be changing this image of Negan with the bat with all of the characters from the initial lineup. Because this photo was representative of Season 7. Now, I'm going to change this image this summer once the Season 8 poster comes out, or once the Season 8 trailer comes out, whatever the promo image is. This was the promo image because obviously there was a cliffhanger last year when we didn't know who was killed, and we had this image showing us all of the potential victims who could have been smashed to death with the baseball bat. So, and I actually, on my wall right here, I know you can't see it, I have that very same image in a poster form on my wall. So, whatever the Season 8 poster comes out, whatever amazing, I'm assuming it's going to be pretty cool artwork of, like, all-out war, like Rick and Ezekiel and Negan, Jesus, maybe all just lined up, and maybe some people pointing their guns, Negan with, like, a wide-eyed face, or I don't know. I hope it's a cool image because that's where it's going to be going. It's going to be going, sorry, I keep pointing in the wrong place, right here. It's the opposite. For you guys, it's on the right, but for me, I'm pointing to my left. So yeah, I'm really excited, and that's the image that's going to go there because it's always representative of the season. Same thing goes with the intro. The intro that I just played is only half. It's that Let's Go to War, that March to War, that segment where it's pages from the comics interspliced with characters that are in the show. And the reason for that is I want to make a new intro once there's Season 8 footage that I can use. And I'm trying to think of what else. That's pretty much it. I know that in terms of that footage, I'm probably going to use that same Walking Dead theme song. The variation, it's like a techno remix. In case any of you guys have been wondering, like the song that I use for the beginning of all my vlogs where you see Negan pissing our pants yet, and then he goes and selects the victim and smacks. I like that intro. I've used that for all of my Season 7 vlogs and all of my Season 7 reactions. But now it's time to change it up now that we've moved past that. So I'll probably keep that song, but I'll intersplice some of maybe Rick saying something to Negan, Negan saying something to Rick, or I don't know. I'm going to try to make a new intro, maybe from scratch, or I'll keep parts of the song in there. Again, if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. I mean, that's more on my part to do, but I just was wondering. So yeah. So in this vlog, I wanted to talk about one thing in particular, which is the topic that the title of the video, as it usually spoils. I wanted to talk about Jadis and the scavenger group, the junk people, whatever you want to call them. I wanted to talk about whether they will join with Negan for Season 8. Will they be involved in all-out war, and will they fight Rick? Because we know the philosophy of this group, as they've repeated many times before, that we take, we don't bother, which means that they try to put in the minimalist amount of effort in order to maximize their rewards, which isn't really a viable mentality for our society, but for The Walking Dead, they just take advantage of whoever they come across and use them to gather resources, whether it's guns, ammunition, food, whatever. And we saw that with Rick. Rick literally went to the carnival and scavenged all those guns, took all of them from Oceanside, and then, you know, gave them to these stupid fucking junk people, and they were able to make out with the guns, and they were able to, whatever deal Negan had with them. I guess Negan had to give some of his men to Jadis, I guess, because they were talking about 10, that, you know, she's like, deal is for 12, yes, and then Negan's like, 10 people are a resource. So in my mind, he's saying that because he doesn't want to lose, like, his men are important to him. So, you know, giving them to Jadis, you know, he's saying people are a resource. I can't just waste 12 of them. I'm going down to 10. So that's what I think that means. I'm sure we'll get more clarification on what their deal was, because we know what Rick and Jadis's was. That's now null and void. But we don't know what Negan's was, what Negan's deal with Jadis is. We only know that it had to do with him giving some of his people to her, but we don't know the parameters of that, how that whole interaction went down. We didn't actually see Tamiel go to the Saviors, because Jadis mentions that Tamiel followed the Saviors and made a better deal, but we didn't actually see that encounter. Obviously, we couldn't have, because we needed that to be a surprise. It needed to be a twist, what a twist Shyamalan moment, when Jadis actually does betray Rick. But now that they've been forced to retreat, and they've lost quite a few men. It was actually, they lost more men than Negan did during that skirmish at Alexandria on the season 7 finale. I feel like they lost more men. I say that because just from the numbers that were killed, from right when Sasha comes out of the coffin as a zombie, Carl kills like 3 of them with a pistol. Daryl turns around and kills 2 of them. Rosita shoots a couple before she gets shot. They lose a couple of men right off the bat. And then when the Kingdom and the Hilltop come in as reinforcements, then Rick kills 2 of them. Then he turns and shoots 1. 2 of Negan's men get mauled by Shiva. I think Morgan kills another one of them with his stick. I'm trying to like go off the top of my head. I think Daryl kills another garbage person. That's where he gets that ACR that he's shooting, the gun with the camouflage. I think that he steals that from one of the trash people, because he shoots that person with the AK in one of the scenes and then takes the ACR. And then obviously there was the junkyard woman who was fighting with Michonne, who got tossed off the rooftop and died. So in my mind, the Scavengers and Jadis lost more men than Negan did. And also Negan has more men. He has all these outposts and he has an army at his disposal. Sure, Rick has killed a lot of his people at this point, but he seems to have a pretty sizable army at his back. Jadis, it looks like they've got a tight-knit group of these people who have the same mentality of scavenging and not taking and not speaking as much as they have to. And for them, I feel like them losing their people is probably going to make them rethink their strategy. Like, will they want to go to war? Even if, like, let's say they escaped with some of the guns that Rick scavenged for them. All right, so they have weapons. They have some machine guns and weapons, but will they want to fight and kill Rick? Like, is it worth their time? Again, these are people who only do minimalist, who only input minimalist amounts of effort. So will they want to do this? Not to mention, if you recall some other facts, they left their bicycles and their trash trucks at Alexandria. They brought all of those in so that they could offload their soldiers in Alexandria so they could eventually turn against Rick. But when they escaped, they were climbing over the wall and running away on foot. So they lost all of their vehicles too. Those trash trucks and bicycles are now in Alexandria and belong to them. I'm thinking as a prediction, and I'll say this later, I'm imagining those vehicles may be used as a barrier, because there's a little bit of a spoiler. There's this particular scene in the comic book, which I think is what will be adapted for the Season 8 premiere, when Rick and his whole army, all the communities go to the doorstep of Negan. They go to the sanctuary and try to fight him. And they have a wall of school buses from the Kingdom as a perimeter defense so they could hide behind cover and, shoot. So will they use the buses and maybe the trash trucks in addition, because that's a pretty sizable vehicle that you can use as cover. So I imagine that would probably be useful. And it's a small fact, like it's a very small fact to think of, but they had at least 2 or 3 garbage trucks that they just drove straight in to Alexandria. No, those vehicles are just left there. And so, yeah, Jadis they've lost their, they might have more, but as far as I'm concerned, they've lost their main modes of transportation, which were those stupid bicycles and the trash trucks. The only thing they really got out of it was guns, but due to the number of people they lost, I'm not sure if it was really that worth it. So these are all the reasons in my mind, I don't see why Jadis would. My prediction is that she's going to hide. She's going to go into hiding so that Rick can't exact revenge on her. And she's going to wait out the war. She's going to let Negan and Rick kill each other so that she can, take what's left. And there's a very similar scenario of this going on in the Walking Dead comic books right now with different characters and different groups. I won't talk about it much, but I could see a similar thematic happenstance going on with that Jadis just waits out the war and tries to conquer whatever side is left, whatever side that's depleted their resources and is too fatigued to fight them. That's what I think would be the most, the strategy that I think they would enact. With their mentality, that's, I think, what they would do. Obviously, I'm sure we're going to get a little bit of backstory as to why they're this way, why they speak so strangely, like Yoda from Star Wars. Scott Gimple has hinted at this. Obviously, I'm not hoping for an entire episode where it's just the trash people, because, again, those are the type of episodes that really pissed people off in Season 7, when it was just the Oceanside, when it was just the Hilltop. I think at this point, so many groups are together that it wouldn't make sense. I think maybe you could have an episode of maybe like the Oceanside leading their forces over to Alexandria to join up with Rick. Maybe Tara is the liaison between those two groups in some form, because Sydney seemed like she wanted to fight. Some of the other women seemed like they wanted to fight. It was mainly just the grandma that didn't want to. So I bet you Tara will probably convince them and say, hey, we just had a successful first battle against the Saviors. Now do the you Oceanside people want to attack? Oh, and by the way, some of your guns were stolen by people that, were assholes. So I guess that's going to be an odd way of explaining what happened to their weapons. But they still have a decent number of weapons from all the corpses that were left behind of people who dropped weapons and just, the remnants of war in Alexandria. I bet you they have enough firepower. So I can't imagine all of their guns were stolen, and not every single gun was given to the scavengers. So yeah, that's my prediction. I don't think they'll attack Rick and they'll just join the Saviors. I think they're going to wait, and they're going to do their stealthy, sneaky bullshit like they did with their initial betrayal, and that's going to come later on. I don't know if they'll appear in the premiere, but considering Jadis was one of the people who got the series regular treatment, there were 3 characters who got the series regular treatment. Stephen Ogg, who plays Trevor, Jadis, I forget the actress who plays her, and then what the hell is that girl's name? Enid. Sorry, I almost forgot about her. Enid also got series regular, which is weird because Enid's been in the series since season 5, and Trevor's been, since the season 6 finale. So for them to now just get the season regular treatment's odd. I mean, Jadis was only in parts of she was only in that second half of season 7, so that makes sense for her to be a series regular just right off the bat. But Trevor and Enid have, or not Trevor, sorry, Simon. I keep calling him Trevor because of Grand Theft Auto 5. It's like one of his most recognizable works. Simon. Hear that time, Simon? That's the taste of shit. That's the Simon I'm talking about. But Simon and Enid have been in the series longer than Jadis, so for me, that's just surprising that they haven't been series regulars before. But again, I don't think the episodes lended itself to that. Like we saw in season 7, there was a lot of jumping around and building us up to this all-out war point. So I don't think there was an opportunity for them to be series regular. They were in a few episodes. Simon wasn't in the raid on Alexandria in episode 4 of season 7. He wasn't in that episode, but pretty much every other. Like he was in episode 5 when he was kind of like the liaison, but with the Hilltop, between the Saviors and the Hilltop, and he's always talking to Gregory. He goes to Alexandria to search for Daryl one time, and then he's there in the finale just as one of Negan's henchmen. But he hasn't had that much time. He's so far just been a henchman role. he was great in the season 6 finale because he was the perfect build-up to Negan. He was like a mini Negan, basically, and he introduced the character quite well. So I was happy with his appearance, and I still like when I see him. He's basically a mini Negan. Like, he channels comedy, and just, you know, I obviously, if you've played at GTA 5 and you've played Trevor's character, you know that comedy suits Stephen Ogg very well. So he's done comedy with many of the roles that he's had. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. But anyway, not to go off, that's just my predictions about Jadis and the Scavengers. Obviously, a lot of people hate them right now because they betrayed Rick, and I'm sure people are just going to want them dead. I have no way of knowing what they're going to do with them because they're not in the comics. They don't exist as comic book characters. Same thing goes for the Oceanside. So those are two huge question marks moving forward. There's also a couple other question marks which I'll jump into later, such as where is Sherry? Because Sherry does not leave the sanctuary in the comics, so her disappearance is unknown. Heath as well. Heath's disappearance was more because the actor is busy filming that 24 series. So it's really going to be like whenever the actor's available, they'll bring him back in. But I'm assuming they'll probably bring him in some interesting way. Some people have suggested maybe the Whisperers or something to do with All Out War at some moment. I'm not sure. It's really going to depend. But yeah, Heath's basically a question mark. Like, they're just kind of leaving his character in limbo until the actor comes back, which, I mean, we didn't have much time with him anyway. Like, he only popped up in season 6, and he was only in it for a few episodes. His most notable moments was when they invaded the satellite station, and, you know, he had all sorts of regret about it from, you know, that one episode that he was in season 7 with Tara before he went missing. So, trying to think of what else. Some other question marks. Obviously, Dwight's betrayal is going to be interesting. Eugene's decisions are very different in the comic books. He's more of a prisoner in the comics. But in the show, it seems like he's full Negan. He said right in front of Rick, I'm Negan. So that's major trust issues there. So again, lots of different things they're doing. And I like that. I like when the show does different things in the comic because I can't predict it. Other than spoilers that get leaked, which I already ranted about in a vlog a couple of weeks ago. So, so yeah, that's about it, guys. Just let me know what comments you have about this and suggestions for the intro, suggestions for new vlogs in the future. Obviously, because we're not in Walking Dead season anymore and we're in downtime mode, there's going to be less vlogs, especially in May, June. There's probably going to be a lot less videos coming out on my channel just because I'm personally going to be very busy. And there's just no Walking Dead content to review. I might review Better Call Saul Season 3 once Season 3 of Better Call Saul is done. And then maybe this summer I'll tackle Game of Thrones reactions for Season 7 because it's going to, you know, it's the second to last season of the entire series, so I feel like that's important to review. So just a few ideas out there. You know, obviously we're going to have a long wait until October when the show returns, but, you know, this is always the way it is. It was harder last year because we had that cliffhanger death, but now it was Season 7 left off on a really sweet note. I think we have a lot more to mull over with all of the characters and where everyone's at. So, all right, good stuff. See you guys later. Thanks for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe. Peace out.